Hello, Caveman checking in here. It has been actually quite a while since I filmed those last videos that I recently posted, and it's time for me to get back into a habit of vlogging for my sake and whoever's watching. The last 3 months have been particularly interesting and stressful, and I feel like I might just finally be getting my feet back under me with the relocation, leaving the house and moving to the camper, and dealing with not having a home or a home base and kind of being scattered all over the place. Quick update on the property. I can't remember if I mentioned this before, but I've made friends with a new young couple, and the guy in that couple has been helping me for a couple weeks now just get started making some progress on the property. I've bit off quite a bit, certainly more than I can chew all by myself, and I'm looking for mentoring, particularly in permaculture design, so as to not just effectively and efficiently manage the property, but in permaculture it's all about design science and mimicking what nature does best. And while it might not be the most beautiful from a manicured aesthetic, think like a golf course as opposed to a natural meadow, you know, kind of the difference, where you're stacking functions and it would appear a little chaotic with things growing next to other things and not perfectly trimmed hedges, but in the end it is a very effective system. Anyway, I don't know what the hell I'm doing. It is really overwhelming, but Trice has been out there helping me. We were there again this morning working on a dead fence. Hopefully I'll get some visuals, some footage, capturing the progress. So that's a major project. I mean, from now until I die will be TROG Farms, but it's a major element of what I'm dealing with in terms of where I'm trying to divvy up my time, and hopefully in the not too distant future I'll get to move it out of the column of stress into the column of joyful learning. But it's still all too many things to try to learn, and when you're by yourself it can certainly seem daunting, to say the least, because I'm just adding this on top of running the other businesses. But more to the point of the hiatus, yes, I've been shaken up, whatever, having to move, and that is its own experience, I guess, for lack of a better term. And I am working on the chest pains or whatever. I did go see Marie for biodecoding, and we dug a little bit into that, and certainly found out that I've been, believe it or not, overwhelmed with everything I've been taking on, and I need to find some more time to go sit and relax, ideally in the mountains, away from everything, just kind of go be a caveman in the mountains for a week, much more often than I have been doing. However, the biggest thing that I've been in the throngs of and enthralled with is, and I know I mentioned Mark Passio in a couple previous videos, but I've done a headlong dive into his work, and I may have released a video right after I saw his presentation on natural law back in around February or March, and now I've gone back about starting a couple months ago. This is all happening at the same time, of course. I started in on his podcast at number 1, because his presentations are amazing, as like little snippets that are fairly concise and give you a great breadth and depth of what he's talking about. But as I've gotten into his podcast, because it's very linear, like you want to start at the beginning, he almost never has guests. It's just him extolling a lot of information. I've tried to explain this to other people using the analogy, if you remember the cartoon or the story, you know, King Arthur, but specifically the sword and the stone, right? You've got the sword stuck in there, and all the knights try to pull it out, and obviously the one that pulls it out is destined for, I forget if they're supposed to be Lancelot, greatness, blah, blah, blah. And I feel upon listening to his information, that not only did I pull that sword out, the realization connected to that is you now have to embark on the great work. And the great work, under any other names would be the work of God, the work of TROG. It was kind of the last doors and keys that I needed to get the foundation, to get the framework of everything. And you're probably sitting there thinking like, what the hell are you talking about? Think of any of the items that have been spoken of in lore and fantasy, the tabula rasa, the Ark of the Covenant, those things that are really just an allegory for unlocking the deepest of the mysteries. And that's what Mark's talking about, and that's the information. It is the most foundational and important information for people to know, specifically natural law. It is the greatest, most hidden piece of information, which is why most people don't know about it. And it is the number one thing holding us back from advancing. The mystery traditions, the esoteric information is beyond important. Whether or not you believe in it, it doesn't matter. First of all, it is real. It did exist. It still exists. And really what they're talking about, the secret societies, right? What they're all focused on is the information, the key to understanding the universe and the self, and therefore the power associated with that. And if you can peel back that layer and see the truth of it, you literally are getting a viewpoint and access to TROG, to God, in the sense of understanding the true purpose of life, understanding the true mechanisms that facilitate progress, and then the dark, dirty secret that those that run this world, they know all this information and they're using it against us. And it doesn't matter for a second if you think it's all fantasy and doesn't exist, because it matters not your belief in a system. If others believe it and are willing to act on it, then you are subject to it. So, while I haven't given you great detail, I hope that it expresses the significance of it, and I'll have to absolutely flesh it out to kind of give it more gravitas, because I'm sure it sounds kind of like I'm just throwing something out there like, okay, yeah, what's Caveman been smoking these days? But quite literally, I have found the keys that unlock the doors to truth, and this truth is what determines the advancement, not just of the human race, because we're just the material incarnation of consciousness, but it determines the actual ability for consciousness itself, for the manifestation of TROG itself to move forward, to progress, to take that next step. And as it has become clear to me that this information has been deeply, deeply hidden by those wishing to prevent us from doing that, so that they can reign here, REIGN, reign here and create a hell on earth for us, and we can see this playing out. And the year of 2020 is, if anyone needed any better example of chaos and evil advancing itself, and immorality advancing itself, and a clear step back from any freedoms we thought we had, it was 2020. And before that, the big event would have been, 9/11. Anyway, all this to say that I've pulled the sword out of the stone. I've been in great flux the last 3 months, not least because of having to move, but also discovering the most important information not just in the world, but tied to the energetic vibrations of the frickin' universe. And it takes its toll. You know, some of my chest pain might be associated with that. So I will dive deeper into that. We're already at 10 minutes. The content that I am going to be focused on trying to create, or not just trying, that I will be creating to disseminate out there, is going to be linked to this from now until I die. And when I come back next time, that's probably what I'll be working on as well, assuming I can figure it out, hopefully sooner than I did now. So I leave you with that. The pursuit of truth continues.